Anybody who's ever played outside with me knows I love to chat. Whether I'm snowboarding, cycling, hiking, or kayaking, being outdoors is just another opportunity to not only connect with nature, but also with friends and family. You know, the people enjoying nature with me. But a lot of outdoor activities aren't conducive to carrying on conversations while you recreate, like cycling, mountain biking, and skiing or snowboarding, for example. Which is why we have tested and reviewed, and I love, intercom systems so very much for so many outdoor activities. For example, if you've been hanging around Terradrift long enough, you've probably seen reviews we've done in the past of helmets and other devices with intercom systems that let you chat while you're outdoors as you do your thing. We'll link to some of the reviews we've done of SENA intercom devices in the description and, like up here somewhere. Because frankly, this technology effectively changed the way that Josh and I mountain bike. Suddenly, as soon as we strapped on an intercom device, cycling and mountain biking became more of a fun, connected group activity than a sort of solo adventure where we just ride along behind one another and yell at each other over whatever noise surrounds us at stoplights or trail intersections. All of a sudden, riding bikes together meant that we could have a conversation, warn each other of upcoming obstacles, alert each other to what direction we turned at the fork ahead, and heck, even talk about what YouTube videos we should shoot next. Honestly, it very quickly got to the point where I hate riding without these things. I mean, I get very depressed when we go out and somebody forgot to charge their helmet, and halfway through the ride, we're no longer connected. I'm not exaggerating when I say these things changed the way we ride for the better. They just make going out with friends and family so much more fun. So when we got the chance to test the Cardo Pack Talk outdoor system, which is a bit more geared toward snowboarding, skiing, and other more extreme sports like rock climbing and paragliding, things that require safety helmets, we were pretty stoked to test them out during our first season of learning how to board. Now, this system is set up a little differently from devices like the SENA Pi, a super portable, low-profile device that fits perfectly on a bike helmet. But these have an emphasis on sound quality, versatility, and more functionality. So I took a pair of Pack Talk outdoor intercom systems to Rossland in British Columbia, Canada, where I planned to snowboard at Red Mountain Resort, attached one to my snowboard helmet, and gave one to a new friend, and together we hit the lifts to see how these functioned, who they're for, and if they have the potential to change how we enjoy outdoor sports other than cycling. So there are a lot of things about the Cardo Pack Talk Outdoor that are really cool. First of all, it's pretty quick and easy to set up. There's no cell signal required to use them, and if you just want to quickly use the intercom, you don't even need to download the app, technically speaking, though it is helpful for dialing in custom settings, updating software, and using your phone to switch from call mode to intercom mode, etc. Yep, you can talk on the phone, listen to music, or stay connected via intercom with these bad boys. But we'll get to that in a minute. They're also good for a wide variety of activities. Pretty much anything where you'll be wearing a helmet. We're talking mountain biking, kayaking, paragliding, rock climbing, and skiing or snowboarding. Now, you can probably set it up to work on like a lapel or jacket collar or something if you're not wearing a helmet and you really want to, but it is designed to be used with a helmet. What you do is clip the main receiver device onto the strap of your helmet. You can also adhere it to the outside of your helmet if you don't have compatible straps for some reason. Then plug in and lock on the microphone and speakers, use the hook and loop strap to secure the mic to your chin strap, and position the speakers inside your helmet. There's one for each ear, and they can either slide into the pocket inside your helmet if you have that sort of setup, or they can Velcro to the inner fabric. Or they come with stick-on hook and loop patches that you can adhere to the inside of your helmet if it's not lined with any sort of material, like a climbing or whitewater kayaking helmet. The Pack Talk even comes with little hook and loop fasteners, so you can route the cables for the speakers in the inside of your helmet to keep them out of the way and from getting caught on stuff. Now, I will say, depending on how you set it up within your helmet, it can kind of be a pain to switch from helmet to helmet. Now, if you only have one helmet that you plan to use this with, that won't be a problem. But if you have multiple helmets for multiple different sports, you'll have to set it up every time you swap helmets and possibly have to buy a few extra stick-on accessories for quicker transfers. a minor inconvenience, I guess. Now, once you have it all set up in your helmet, it's tolerably easy to use. You can use the app to control things like music and your intercom, or the dial and buttons on the outside of the receiver to play, pause, and adjust volume. Now, as long as you're connected via Bluetooth to your phone, you can also use voice commands like Siri to control most of the options as well, including making and taking phone calls. As for other details, it's waterproof and has a 1 kilometer or 0.6 mile maximum range. That said, the more users you have connected, the larger your range can be. Think of it like a daisy chain. The connection can hop from user to user and extend how far away you can be from each other and still be able to chat. The maximum range is 5 kilometers or 3 miles, which is pretty impressive, actually. And you can connect up to 15 users. The SENA Pi, for example, only connects 2, so you can keep chatting with your whole crew even if you're not cruising down the mountain at quite the same pace. But let's talk about how it actually performed on the mountain. Now, like I said, I tested this out with a fellow snowboarder at Red Mountain Resort in Rossland, Canada. She was a much more advanced boarder than I am, so we knew that there was very likely going to be a fair bit of distance between us, so we really tested the limits of the range, and yeah, we found ourselves out of range of each other fairly frequently. But the devices almost always reconnected automatically when I would catch up to her as she waited for me at the bottom of a run. There were a few times that it didn't, but I'm going to blame that on user error when I was too impatient and tried to push too many buttons to solve a problem that probably didn't really exist. Now, while I was strictly concerned with using the intercom to stay in touch with her to make sure I knew how to get down the mountain that I was very unfamiliar with, she was comfortable listening to music while being connected via intercom. Yes, you can listen to music and chat with your friends. And no, her music did not come through onto my intercom, which is pretty cool. And while we're on the subject of sound, quality in those JBL speakers was actually really impressive. I would certainly describe it as crisper and clearer than with the SENA devices we've tested. We could always hear what the other person was saying, no problem, and music and podcasts were just mwah, beautiful. However, those speakers are pretty dang uncomfortable. At least in snowboard helmets, both of us found the speakers pressed too firmly on our ears and caused uncomfortable pressure points. Now, I was able to alleviate some of that by moving the speakers forward to like right in front of my ears, closer to my jawbone joint, and I was still able to hear sufficiently, but that does seem like a real problem. I mean, you're not going to want to continue to use something if it's uncomfortable. However, the Pack Talk is designed in such a way that you can swap out the speakers for your own headphones. It comes with an adapter so you can plug in earbuds and use those instead. You will want those earbuds to have a built-in microphone, and they do have to have a traditional headphone plug, but that's an extra nice option to have in case your helmet just doesn't accommodate the size of the speakers or you find them uncomfortable. Likewise, while I said sound quality was excellent, you can't adjust music volume and intercom volume separately using just the device. You have to go into the settings in the app to adjust the volumes independently. So, like when my fellow tester was listening to music and I would speak to her through the intercom, she found the music at the perfect volume, but my voice was way too loud. She would have had to take a break in order to pull out her phone and sort of like dial in the perfect settings. That said, you can really customize a lot of those settings and audio profiles, which techie folks will likely appreciate. Me? I just want to plug and play. The less complicated, the better. Then there's the issue of price. The Cardo Pack Talk outdoor system costs $250 per unit and $450 for a pair. That's more than twice as much as the SENA Pi. Now, the Cardo Pack Talk is a higher quality product and quite a bit more involved when it comes to parts, pieces, and functionality, but still, that's a hefty price jump. It's just something to consider if you're trying to decide between two intercom systems and you're on a budget. Though, honestly, the limited range on the Pi wouldn't do well for big mountain activities since it only has a range of 0.2 miles or 400 meters. So honestly, it's just not as well suited for activities that naturally involve higher speeds or more space between participants. So all that said, who is the Cardo Pack Talk outdoor for? And who is it not for? Well, I can think of quite a few people in both crowds. Now, the folks who I think will really get the most out of the Cardo Pack Talk and truly appreciate its functionality probably fall into one or two camps. First, if you regularly ride with a number of friends and family who have similar degrees of ability and plan on sticking pretty close together throughout the day, then you're probably really going to dig these. I mean, it's super nice to be able to chat with the other folks you're playing outside with, share stories, give tips and pointers, update them on your exact location, share where you found some fresh POW, or when you're planning on heading to the lodge for après-ski drinks. Like I mentioned earlier, using a similar intercom when we cycle has made riding imminently more enjoyable for us, and these absolutely have the potential to do so for other outdoor sports. The second people I think these would be an excellent investment for are guides and instructors who make a point of staying close to their clients, whether kayaking, biking, or snowboarding, in order to give them direction, tips, or safety instructions. Honestly, if I were a snowboard instructor or guide, I would absolutely want a couple of these so I didn't have to scream instructions at them from 30 feet away all day long. These would be brilliant for that. Now, the Cardo Pack Talk is probably not as much for people with high varying degrees and levels of skill. Like I said, I was more often out of reach of my snowboarding companion than I was within reach because, well, she was just so much more advanced than me and would get too far ahead or outside of bounds frequently without even trying. I'm slow. What can I say? I'm still learning, okay? My fellow tester also commented that because she was so much more advanced than me and having way more fun shredding down the mountain while I spent a lot more time falling on my butt, she felt bad about hooting and hollering and making joyful noises while I was groaning and growling every time I had to pick myself back up. Basically, she felt bad that she was having more fun than me, and knowing that I could hear her having fun made her feel a little guilty. Now, that's only because she's a super nice human, and if you ride with a bunch of jerks, that clearly won't be a problem for you, but just something to consider. Basically, this is a cool system with super high quality sound that's pretty versatile, and I think a lot of people are absolutely going to appreciate it. Honestly, if you are the kind of social outdoorist who likes to chat and stay connected and enjoy the company of friends and family you're riding with, you're definitely gonna dig the Pack Talk system. And the comfort factor may require a bit of trial and error and finagling until you can find a way to get it dialed in just right so it doesn't bother your ears, but overall functionality is excellent. So if you have the budget and think it makes sense for you, then what the heck? Go for it, I guess. As long as you are planning to stick relatively close together while you recreate. Although, frankly, I do hate the fact that you're paying this much for a piece of technology and you're just gonna have to get a new pair of headphones for it. I don't feel great about that. Either way, we'll drop a link to the Cardo Pack Talk Outdoor below, but before you go, if you found this video even remotely useful, let us know by hitting subscribe and ringing that bell. It would mean a lot to us. No, seriously, it would. Also, did you know we have a Patreon? Yeah, it's got outtakes and behind the scenes footage and all kinds of other good stuff, so go check that out. And watch some of these other videos. They're all great. Hey, you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at Terradrift on all of them. Then, get out there and wander on already. Stay connected with your friends while you do. It's great. You should try it.